So shall we, in the interest of time?
Absolutely. So let's dive right into money.
Dive into money.
In business, money is always an issue, whether you have too little or even if you have more than you expected. Your quest as a real estate salesperson is to increase your revenues, control your cost, and at the end of the day, increase your net income. Part of the battle is to become familiar and proficient with your economic model and your budget model. Much of the difference between having a business that earns $1 million and one that nets $1 million is often centered on two monetary disciplines: sticking to the budget model, harder than it looks, and controlling cost, easier than it sounds. So, and Cheryl, I know you're in listen mode, but you can also, put your screen on and put your unmute when you have something to say. Feel free to dive in. So it says one of the hardest things is sticking to the budget model. And I think for most realtors, that's because they don't have a budget. So let's start right there. Or how could you stick to a budget when you don't have one?
It's like, how can you reach a goal if you don't have one?
Exactly. And some of them say, well, I don't know how much I need to spend for this business, even though there's the model, especially for newer realtors or realtors who have roller coaster businesses. It's not predictable. It's not consistent. So how do I know what I can spend if I don't know how much I'm going to definitely earn? And I totally get that. But it starts with looking at your previous year. Just look at the previous year and in your heart, know that you're going to do that and more.
Plus.
So what did you spend in the previous year? What did you spend it on? What did it yield you? And now you can start setting a budget based on the percentages from the MREA book for the following year. And then you can probably adjust midway this time of year. So if you're growing.
Excellent advice. And Orly, I've got to believe the first time you did that was not a quick meeting. In fact, it probably went for days, revisiting and analyzing what brought you money, what worked, what didn't work.
Right, because we're not used to analyzing business. Most realtors don't take that time to work on their business as opposed to working in their business. They're busy, hopefully lead genning, converting, showing houses, negotiating, all the things that we were taught to do to be successful realtors. But something comes your way and you think it's going to be the magic wand that's going to get you more leads. So let me buy that and see what happens, because how are we always sold? Oh, if you just convert one sale, it paid for itself.
Yeah.
So,
on page 251, there's some nuggets that I really liked. And one is in the second, well, I guess the first paragraph in the middle. Don't treat your budget lightly and don't alter it easily. Try living without something. And if you find you can't, then you'll know it's important. Learning to say no, and the financial disciplines are learning to say no and are learning to ask why.
Right.
That's a great nugget.
I'm super guilty of not, it's those shiny things. It's like you see something and you think that your business needs it. And I have to get a better hold of that.
And also, somebody else is using it. However, question, who is that somebody? And they could be somebody you absolutely love and respect. However, ask them, did you analyze this? What's the return on your investment? Did you track it? Because we were all guilty of getting something and not really tracking it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they say inattention to money and overspending are the norm for realtors, which is, Cheryl, what you just confessed, right? Oddly enough, those of us who have the most confidence in our ability to generate money often have the greatest difficulty in keeping it. Don't you know the saying, if you want to sell something, sell it to a salesperson?
Absolutely.
Because we'll buy it.
Exactly. Especially when we're at a conference or somewhere where we're charged up and ready to go and ready to escalate our goals. So in order to get more, I need to buy more and do more.
Yeah.
So be very, very careful of that.
Especially in the beginning of your career. And you watch all of the people who are producing and you want to get there quickly. So you want the, let's do that, let's gain.
Shortcut. We all want a shortcut.
We want a shortcut. Yeah, that's my words. Thank you.
Mhm.
We all want to get there quickly when it takes time, so we buy, some people don't buy leads, or some people buy leads in the beginning. Okay, that's fine. Zillow is a great example of they constantly want more money. They constantly want more money, more money. When do you stop? And so that's why you have to work on your business and look and see where the ROI is. See where is the business coming from and how much of it is coming from there.
And according to the economic model, it should yield you 4 times your investment. So that's the formula. If it's not yielding you 4 times your investment, you can make a business decision. Is twice my investment good enough? Or am I going to follow the economic model and really stick to 4 times my investment? And I have done both. I have done both.
We all have. We all have.
I just say, you know what, it's not yielding me 4 times more, but I'm happy with it. And as long as I'm not losing money and I'm making money, then I'm going to keep this. The other thing that I used to caution myself with when I used to go to a conference and get all hyped up with all this marketing stuff, because I love marketing, is I would have to hold myself back from competing with me. So I would come back from a conference, and I'll never forget this. And, somebody had these, moving trucks, and, their name was plastered all over it, and they give it to their companies. And then I came back and I said, okay, $4,000 a year for the lease. I need to find a place to park it. I need to manage who's going to take it out, come back, log it out, insurance, blah, blah, blah. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, who am I competing with? Like, nobody in my marketplace has this. Why am I even doing this? So I decided I don't need this in my marketplace, which is not to say somebody in another marketplace wouldn't need it to compete with their competitor, but look at yourself.
But on that note, you don't compete with anybody, nobody has it in your marketplace. But the same scenario, someone right in my office got a moving truck. And you know what? I was FOMO. I had FOMO and thinking, oh, I should have this too. I have to have this. How could I not have this? But when I looked at the numbers, I said, am I still getting my return on everything else? And is that going to help me get more listings? Is it going to help me get more business? And when I looked at it and cut it for what I was going to spend and the headache of having it, I said no. So
Right.
You have to really take a step back.
And that's something that's very hard to track because it's a rolling billboard. So when you become ubiquitous with all of your marketing and you have a rolling billboard, I mean, when I source my business, I would say 25% of my source is reputation. At this point, it's ubiquitous. I see you everywhere, but so it's harder to track what to spend money on because, what are they actually calling you for? So a moving truck, and believe me, a lot of the people interviewed for the MREA book, I happen to know, had the moving truck. So, but I also think that a lot of realtors, including myself, have big egos. So am I doing it for marketing, return on investment, ego, to outdo my competition? So those are the questions you have to ask yourself as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
On
I
page
was just going to say that about the ego and the, is it making you money or does it make you feel good? And that's kind of what you have
I'd
to.
like to have it both. And I go it's huge.
I appreciate your honesty, Paula, because frankly, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Can I
It's
just say
true.
though, that in consulting with agents at all different levels, we always have to be careful because there always is that ego factor that gets in the way in the profit margin. The ego factor is in the profit margin. It's like, Orly, I love that point of like, the reputation is built now, but as you are building it, was it the shopping cart that got you the deal? Was it the billboard? Was it the newspaper ad? All of these things that make you feel like really important, and it looks great, but did it actually procure a homeowner to call you? Did it actually procure a buyer to actually walk into that house? And so you have to have those metrics set up that you are measuring it.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But
that's different from the budget model and the economic model from the marketing model, which he doesn't really go through, because I learned very early on from Hobbs Herder that correct marketing is layered marketing.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it's like the perfume you put on. You put on the same scent of body lotion, the same scent of shampoo, and then the perfume goes on. So it's everywhere. It's layered. So when you do a lot of marketing, you do one thing, it's layered marketing. And then you're everywhere they turn. And it's ironic you say the shopping carts, because I have gotten so many calls from people who say, oh, I used to see you on the shopping carts, which I have never spent a dime on a shopping cart because I didn't want some kid's ass on my face.
I
It's
love that
funny
you
that you
say
say that because I got that phone call. My kid was sitting on your face in a shopping shop. I was like, no.
Exactly. But I've never done the shopping cart, yet the public perceived that I was everywhere. So whatever realtor was paying for that, I got the credit for.
You know what
Yeah.
the best kind of marketing is? Lawn signs.
Yes, absolutely.
And on main roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
One of our competitors actually used to, who held the line on commissions, would let agents reduce the commission if it were on a busy street.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's free advertisement.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, what page are we at?
So I'm on page
252?
251. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, I just want to go into when you build a system, when you build systems and processes, they tend to serve two purposes. First, they help you keep your good habits and do the right things. And second, they make it very, very difficult to regress into old bad habits and do the wrong things. In this way, your budgetary system should be geared to keep you focused on following the money and to prevent you from losing control of your expenses. And I'll just go on to the next paragraph because this is really important. And I intuitively did this early on. One easy example of this is to separate your deposit account from your operating account. Only transfer enough into your operating account to cover that month's budgeting expenses. Then set a business standard for you and your staff to avoid exceeding that amount. So early on, I just felt guilty spending the household money. Like I felt like I was taking money out of my children's mouths or having to justify it to my husband, even though he never asked me, but it was my own guilt and my own head. So I just kept taking 25% out of every commission check. And I opened up a business account knowing that, okay, if I want to spend marketing dollars now, this is my money to reinvest into my business. So that's the first thing I urge everyone to do is have a business account. So simple, one credit card, one checking account. That's it. Keep it simple. And in the early days, I kept it so simple. I used to have a manila envelope with a registry on the back of it. And my assistant would put all the receipts inside and register everything on the outside. So at the end of the year, I had 12 envelopes and I would just make a copy of the registry for my accountant. That's how primitive my first system was.
Well, you can
yeah,
do the same
Very
thing.
system. It's still fine. If somebody wants to do that because it's easier, then fine.
Yeah,
And you can put it in an Excel sheet. I mean, it doesn't have to be on the
Okay.
back of the folder. It could be in an Excel document.
right.
And
I
different
actually had
tools,
those-
but the same job.
And I actually had those receipts borrowed or I lent them out twice. Once to a realtor who was being audited. She needed receipts because she didn't keep anything. And another time for a divorce situation where, again, it was a realtor that needed to provide expenses because realtors don't keep receipts. I mean, today,
Orly at your service.
you know what, my own accountant, who I have sent many, many realtors to, and one of Paula's competitors actually goes to him as well, actually has my P&L statement in his lap when he's dealing with realtors because of all the categories and, approximate expenses. So he keeps that as a model for other realtors because frankly, they're a shit show. They don't have, anything.
So I could ask a question to the ladies here is, what could we provide our accountants with so that they would have a full list of all the expenses? What is it called?
P&L.
The P&L, but it's in here. It's in here. Gary has it all broken down for us. It's the chart of accounts, right?
Oh, yeah.
We could just download that Excel doc. It's the chart of accounts, which actually gives you account numbers if you wanted to organize yourself in that manner. And you could give that to your accountant to say, hey, this is how an office runs their books. This is how Mega Agent runs their books.
Mary Beth? Where is the chart of accounts?
So the chart of accounts, number one is you can find it on Keller Inc. in the MREA tools. But basically, it is your 349. It is your profit and loss statement broken down with all the categories, the numbers, the 4,000, the 6,000, the expenses. Basically, it is the sample profit and loss.
Yeah, on
But
page
it is a
349.
Excel
appendix
document that you
in the
can
back of the
send over.
That's great. That's great.
You can import it into QuickBooks. You can import it into any of your financial systems. So that's a great tool for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more than I would ever plug in, but it's a very good guideline. It's a very good guideline. I mean,
But to your point, Orly, it's so easy to do when you have one account for your deposits and one credit card. It's so simple to break that down month by month.
and these days, especially if you have whatever credit card you have, they can break it down into categories, and I don't have receipts anymore because there it is. And not only that, there's an added benefit that you don't think about at the end of the day. When you go to sell your business, you have clean books.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually show whoever you're selling your business to, this is exactly what I spent, and this is what I made, and here's my data.
Smart.
That's
Smart
it.
that you're thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. And somewhere in this chapter, it speaks to having that, Cheryl, you referenced it, having that monthly meeting where you look at what you've done, what you've spent, what's come in. Don't wait till March.
Yeah. To the end of it. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So another point, which we've discussed before, is as a general rule, you should request a detailed budget for any new marketing plan, equipment purchase, or staff position. For each proposal, insist on a complete economic model, how it will increase income or save expenses or cause higher productivity. This is the red light, green light at a high level. Make it happen to question a new expense until you are confident it makes economic sense to do it. So it should be a habit to do the red light, green light.
And I love the next sentence, which is what I underline. Let it rest for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Remove that shiny new penny aspect. Let it rest for a few days.
I think I'm gonna print that on a sign and put that above my desk.
You know why? It goes back to our personalities. We are D personalities, which means we're impetuous, we're spontaneous, and we want to check it off our list so we can move on to the next thing. So sometimes we have to recognize our innate personalities. I mean, I can buy, a car literally in 10 minutes. I bought property, while I was on at a dinner party, practically sight unseen. I mean, I just have good intuition, but I am impetuous. So my husband is the one that kind of grounds me and says, whoa, let's do the numbers. Let's look at this, so he makes me step back, pause, take the time, sit on it a couple of days. Sometimes you miss an opportunity because we sat on it too long. So that's why you've got that.
I wouldn't want to be there for that conversation.
Me neither.
I learned, but that's the yin and yang. That's the yin and yang, because I'm not thinking as a non-detailed person of all of the, details. So I need someone to bring me to that. But then I'm like, hurry up, give me the details so I can make a decision.
Yeah. So we can do it. Yeah. When I love the bottom of 252, when unexpected expenses arise, agents become very aware that they are reaching into their own wallet to cover them. It's probably a good idea always to think of unbudgeted expenses in this way.
Right.
That would slow me down.
That would slow me down too. I also, might be a little bit of a tangent, but I find that agents are too apt to cut their commission or pay for other clients' repairs, painting, whatever it is, because they have what I call the social worker mentality.
Oh, okay.
So because, oh, I'm your realtor, I'm full service, let me help you. And I see them physically painting someone's house or cleaning it or moving stuff. I mean, granted, we've all done that a little bit to help clients,
Yeah.
but your doctor is not going to be there helping you take your medication. That's not what you're paying him for. So have value in yourself where I'm not a social worker. I'm your resource.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm
right.
a real estate resource.
I'm your resource. You need painters, I have them. You need electricians, I have them. You need your CO done, I have someone that can do it for you. I don't do that in my own home. I'm not doing it for you. That's not my forte.
You know, it's funny as a person who just started a team, that is such a good point, because as a single agent, it was like, all right, you know what, I can do that. You know, you're like, all right, yeah, I can, you know what, I can get back that 0.5%. It's fine. I'm making this. But when you have a team, and this is something that's been an aha for me, is that I can't do that anymore because I'm responsible now. I'm responsible. If my buyer's agent sells that house, I'm asking her to take a break on commission also. That's
Right.
not fair to her. And then, of course, my client care coordinator, I have to pay her also. So this is really all coming out of just not my pocket. It's
Right.
coming out of my team's pocket. And that is something that within the last couple of weeks, I've actually started realizing.
Wow, Cheryl, that is a huge,
Yeah,
huge
I like that.
aha.
So true, so
Yeah.
true.
That your budget model right now is for your business, and there are other people that are dependent on the income that you are generating,
Right.
your livelihood. So you
Yeah.
are absolutely correct. And believe me, we've all been there where we had no choice. A deal is going south. It's going to go south anyway. You have to make a business decision.
Yeah.
But I find that a lot of agents tend to go there first.
Do
Yep.
it so quickly.
Where for me, it's the last resort, absolutely the last resort.
Yeah.
Isn't it so interesting though, Cheryl, that when it was your money, you were okay with it?
It was,
I mean-
it was easy.
Now it's somebody else. So you're like, you're gonna, and this is often what I see, people will fight for other people more than you'll fight for yourself. And in this, at the end of that section of the 14, that point, it says you on page 253. It says, when you get down to it, the millionaire real estate agent business will ultimately be a reflection of you. If it is to change, improve, and grow, you will have to do it too. In fact, your growth will actually come before your growth of your business. So like, you have to stretch yourself. Your ability and your willingness to work on yourself will in large part determine how far you and your business will go. Skipping down to the bottom, it says time and experience have helped us identify two particular areas of personal development that will have a significant impact on your ability to reach great success. So here's the two things. It's maintaining your focus on the 20% of the business that matters the most, and your ability to maintain some sense of balance in your life so that you will always have the energy that you need to pursue the goals. So those are the two things that we toggle between. It is you. It is always going to be us. We have to take ownership. I don't think, to Orly's point, being D personalities, the ladies that are on here today now, that's not a challenge for us to take that ownership. But for some people, you got to take that ownership, and it's you. And then where is our focus? Because also as a D and as an I, we can kind of go our own way. So we have to kind of get grounded to make sure that we're always focusing on our big rocks. Like, what do we most importantly have to get done? What's the wildly important things that we have to do? That nobody else can do. It has to be ours. And then the other part is then keeping that balance so that we do have energy to go on through the day, because it's tough sometimes. It's tough, especially in a busy season. A lot of our agents now are exhausted. Our leaders are exhausted. We've been running for like I don't know, a year and a half, all through COVID.
Mhm.
So, you know, we have to find that balance. And as we move into the next section and the other section, we're going to talk about that counterbalance versus balance. So let's talk about the top 20. What do you ladies have to say about 254, 255, the top 20%?
Well, I love the figure 7, where, because most of us, most realtors are running willy-nilly. Every phone call is pulling you into a different direction. And the
Yeah, I
20%
like that
of
one too.
staying focused is really the guideline to your day. So
Can I just say something though? It's
Sure.
a different direction and it's a different emotion.
Yes.
Like every conversation, you pick up the phone for the mom and you got a different emotion. You have the client conversation, a different emotion. And we have to recognize that, like give ourselves some like credit that we're just great chameleons and anything can come at us. So.
And it does.
Isn't it though? I mean, especially in this market, I mean, look at figure 7. We have a lot coming at us at one time. And yes, it'd be perfect if we could do exactly the way it says it on the focus part. But is that reality all the time?
No.
We're putting out fires. I mean, I had a morning yesterday where the first phone call I got from a client before 8 o'clock in the morning really shook me up for a while. And it took me a long time to refocus my day. However, by having my day planner and knowing what I needed to get done and who I needed to deal with, it helped me refocus. So I think that's the key. Knowing
have your planner.
Yes, knowing the night before. I mean, I already know who I need to call today, what note cards I need to write. So regardless of the phone calls that will come in, I can go back to that so I can at least feel I was productive.
So is that figure saying this is what your day planner looks like so you could adhere to it, but it's not reality
No.
as to
It's a combination.
Sticking with, okay, no, sorry, can't talk to you. I'm doing something else. I mean,
Right.
that's not reality either.
I agree. I think it's a combination. If the truth be told, that, the focused model is what we shoot for. The unfocused model is what is coming at us. And if you're a smart business person and disciplined, it's somewhere in between.
And here's the model that you have to whip out as leaders. Urgent, important. Is it urgent? Is it important? Some things are urgent, but not important. Some things are important, but not urgent. I used to always tell my front desk, because the front desk always gets a million questions, a million cries, a million hugs, a million problems, right? I would say to them,
You're cutting out, Mary Beth.
Yeah, we're losing you, Mary Beth.
that you have
No, you're in and out.
to.
I love that urgent important because,
Yeah.
for instance, yesterday I had 2 offers to present. They weren't bidding wars. They were 2 offers. I didn't present them until afternoon because they're not going anywhere. It's an easy conversation to negotiate that. The other agent can
That
wait.
you got them, and we're not going to take care of it right now.
However, I had a couple of fires I had to put out in order to keep deals together. That to me was more urgent than
Yes.
the importance of the offers that come in. So you prioritize what's urgent and what's important, to Mary Beth's point, because I think a lot of us, we've got an offer and the other agent is badgering you because they want to know, are we in? Are we in? Are we in? Well, hold,
we started doing something that really was really great, which is any person that, because I'm getting texts all day long.
Right.
And I have, as you know, I have like little symbols for can't talk, if you want to show this property, a long thing comes up if I press IE or whatever. But the most important thing that I do is anybody in a deal with me knows from the beginning, they have to copy and loop my operations manager in that text and in that email. She knows that she's going to answer, but I know what's happening, but she's the one that answers. And if I answer something like, we need access to the house to pick up the radon, if I answer, Katie will kill me
Right.
because it's not my job.
Exactly. And it's very easy. And granted, if you don't have a robust business, it's very easy to copy and paste that to your seller and respond. I do the same
that
thing.
takes you
My
away from
automatic
what you
text
do.
message is, please email Lillian throughout the entire transaction for all logistical reasons. That's the text message.
But if they keep doing that, if I think what was really a life-changing for us was from the very beginning of the transaction, because you're going to have a long transaction with that agent.
Mhm.
From the beginning, we say, I'm looping Katie on this.
Mhm.
Every single thing you text me about this transaction, Katie has to be on this group.
Mhm.
Mary Beth is back. What was your point, Mary Beth?
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Was just that front desk person, it kind of looks like that figure 7, the top, everything's coming at them. And I used to always tell them, you know, Orly comes in and she needs something. Orly, I can help you. And I'm in the middle of this. How about 12 o'clock? How about 3 o'clock? You have to measure, is it important? It's not that I don't want to help you. You know, I'd love to take the call and I can help you later on at 3. And usually by that time they figure it out. They don't need you. But we think we have to put out all these fires, and then our unfocused day happens and our big rocks don't. And then we're wondering why our business is not where we want it to be.
Right.
And that all goes back to the fact that we're Ds, that we
And
want
yeah.
to take care of everything.
well,
And Paula's reply with the text message and whatnot, I had seen a leader and I just forwarded it to Jason. There was a leader of a very large office that her auto email reply was, if you need assistance with this, call this one. If you need assistance with this, call this one. Email here for if you need a disc link, do this. So like everything was laid out. It was like customer service and I didn't need to get her. She had the answer right in her auto reply.
right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. But the pitfall here for most agents is at the end of the day, they go home feeling that they were busy, but were they productive?
Mhm.
Was anything you were busy with dollar productive activities? So as long as I know I've done dollar productive activities, regardless of how busy I was, then I can be satisfied at the end of the day.
But that goes back to your point, Orly, with having everything in your day planner. And yes, will you get to everything because you get sidetracked with things? Maybe not, but at least you can go back after you put out that fire and look and say, well, let me just get this done today. You can always move what you don't get done today into tomorrow.
Right.
Refocuses you.
But look at what, you know, like, all right, this fire is over. Let me go back and have a plan. This is something that Orly and I talked about yesterday. And I think that's why it is so important to have that written down in reference to, you know, what dollar productivity things can you do today?
It's your map. It's your map for the day. So
And
you
in-
know where you're going.
And in your calendar, there should always be. So if you have of course, obviously your CMAs are in there, your meeting, okay, I'm working on my business this time. There always should be making calls, reaching out to people, always be in your planner, and do not deviate from that at all.
Most important thing.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Patty. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looping back. The team concept, I think you all have handled your clients dealing with the team concept. How are things going with other realtors when they are said, you know, please reach out to my staff? How is that received?
You know what? It depends on your staff, because at the end of the day, I get compliments. I loved working with Lillian. She was so helpful. You know, if I'm in the office and I see them calling my staff and not me, and I'm sitting there, then I know I've done a right job of giving them better service than I can give them because someone is attending to them. Someone with a different personality has the patience to listen to them as they vent.
Well, and that's the point. It's the service, right? If the client, nobody likes to be pushed off to the assistant or the paralegal or the,
Right.
hey, talk to my partner. But then when you get that person and you're like, wow, they were amazing help. Like, I don't think that Orly would have taken the time to do that with me. Probably not. And so it's all about, like you said, it's the person, but it also comes back to you. Did you train that person and set expectations for that person on the standards of how they would treat your clients and how they would service your clients? Because if they gave stellar 5-star service, well, if you go to the doctor's office, he's not making the appointment for you and checking your vitals.
The other day, a client called up who lives an hour away. The house is vacant and they had to make an appointment for the CO smoke detector. And Lillian said to me, oh, and I told him I would make the appointment for him and wait for the town. I said, why? They live an hour away. They're retired. They can do that. She goes, I thought that was the right thing to do. And they really appreciate it. I said, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Wow.
I think as far as other agents are concerned, I mean, I think clients get it because you set them up right at the meeting, who's going to be what, but I think there's other single agents that still do a lot of business and they have big egos. And I think sometimes they get like, what do you mean? I have to talk to your assistant, so I have heard that actually, in our office recently. I don't know if Patty, you're referring to the same thing. But we were just having this discussion about there's one agent in the area who just will not speak to assistants. They will just speak, they just want to speak to you because they have a big personality.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is
we were just
ridiculous.
literally just having this discussion.
I'm often, when I hear you ladies speak and I think of the people who started real estate companies and the companies were named after them. People did not expect to get Jim Weichert or Dick Schlott or, they expected to get the appropriate person, the person whose specialty dealt with whatever their need was. And on a lesser scale is what's happening here at Keller Williams. You all have your own business. You're the CEO.
But it is expectations. And I really haven't had anything with realtors. I do talk to realtors at the beginning of the transaction, of course, because we're negotiating the offer. But then if I say, Katie will take care of this, and I tell my client especially, this is who takes care of this. We send a welcome email that has everybody's job description and what they do. So they know from the beginning. If I have to remind them, so I take the time because we need to reach out too. And the same thing with realtors, but realtors that you're constantly working with, they know already, this is how you work. You're a team. That's how teams work.
Right.
In fact, sometimes they would go to my assistant and I'm not even in the loop. So I have to remind them, hello, you need to let me know what's going on. But I think that's a beautiful thing to a well-run business. In fact, some people are still shocked when I answer the phone or they can somebody from your team come and do a market analysis. I said, oh, that would be me. Oh, you're coming? I'm like, yeah.
That is funny when I get that. Oh, Paula. Okay. It's Paula calling.
So can I just bring us in for a second on page 256? You're all explaining because you've mastered this. You understand what your big rocks are. You understand that and Paula said, you have to make calls. Like if you're not talking to people, she's not working. Right. Clearly the way that she speaks about Katie, I just want to deal with Katie. If I was going to buy a house, I probably wouldn't call Paula. I'd say, well, I want to talk to Katie first, right? But they've done such a great job at it. But if you look at 256, this is a model for you to actually, what do you want? Set the goal, set a by when date, and then what action steps will you take in order to accomplish that goal? So when you're looking at your top 20, if you're not as good at, hey, I got to make my calls every day, Orly said it a couple of times. She makes her list the night before. She knows who she's calling the night before. She goes into the day. So maybe that would be an action step is create a list. Create a list that we call it a PAM, a prepared action maintain list. Anyway, so this is one. And then on the right, master task list 80%. It is always a great idea to write down everything that you do, everything that you expect to be done in the business, and then draw a line down the paper and put them on one side or the other. Is it something that you must do, or it doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen at the high level? Or could it be something that could be outsourced by somebody else, or a tool or a system or the office or shared services? You know, I had to write an offer on Sunday and I was like, oh, I am not doing that. So I just got the transaction coordinator to write it. In a half hour, the thing was done and sent to me, and I sent it off. I'll pay for that because it's not a good use of my time.
And stay on track. And just, I'm sorry, Mary Beth, to stay on track with that focused part. If you met with your assistant, with your admin, with your directions of operations in the morning, even 5 minutes, you can go through your day and then you can just check off what you can't do.
Look at your dog.
I know.
That was adorable.
Juice, I'm just on the call. Right. And if you don't have an assistant, you can meet with yourself, and you got to put that time on the calendar for like your planning time in the morning, just 15 minutes, just to review what you already set the day before or the week before or the month before. Page 258 gives that sample daily worksheet. I imagine this is kind of what Paula and Orly and Cheryl, like your notebook looks like. Here's my business tasks to do. Here's my people I need to call. These are my appointments. This is my planner.
Totally.
And I've always been a big student of in writing first and then put it into the Google Calendar.
Right. I use a day timer that I write in. That's my Bible. So even today, you know, new client had a baby, need to buy a baby gift, you know, card. It's in there on the side because that's not urgent or important. It will get done. If I don't get it today, it will get done by the end of the week. But you know, the phone calls come first. So.
And with me, everything is in my phone, on my calendar, to-dos. If I don't have, because that's what I have with me all the time. For me, I'll forget that day planner somewhere.
Right.
Just know me. I have one little bag that that doesn't fit in there. So I have my phone, it's all there. You know, that's me. So everybody has their different.
Doesn't matter what system you use as long as you have a system.
That's right.
Arlene, what is your system? Unmute.
Well, okay. Sorry. I actually have both. I'm using the day planner, but I'm also using the phone. And I, like Paula, I don't always have the day planner with me. So I've been switching over, and I'm actually writing it at more to-dos on the calendar as well. So that's what's, you know, still always tweaking after all these years.
Always.
Constantly. You never stop tweaking, Arlene. Never.
Exactly.
We never stop growing and learning. So.
Right.
And COVID actually is what pushed me to go Google Calendar, because I needed all the Zoom links.
We went virtual board. We used to have a huge board in our office with what the deals, you know, what had to get done. Then COVID happened, which, you know, in some ways was great because Katie devised this Google board and everything is on there. I shared it with Orly. I think Orly's using it now too.
Yeah, we have a whiteboard. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all because the buyer's agents can look at it. They see all of my CMAs that I'm going on so that they know, you know, what their buyers need. All of my actives, my coming soons, my everything. Did the CO get ordered? Is the commitment due? Is the deposit due? If my client is talking to me, because sometimes they're talking to me and I never had the answer because I'm not in the office to look at that board. I say, 1 second. I look at my phone. I said, oh no, our commitment's not due till next week. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Excellent.
Great conversation, girls.
So that 258, if you don't have something, I mean, start out with something like that. That's fine. Otherwise, get yourself a planner, get yourself some kind of organization method. But all comes down to 16, and 16 on 259 says the balance of life, right? Counterbalancing your life to maintain your energy at a high level. I have a lot of this underlined. It says the idea of having a balanced life is actually more idealistic than it is practical. And I found that it's healthier to attempt to lead a counterbalanced life where the issue isn't that you got out of balance, but how long you stayed there.
Yeah.
This is going right into the One Thing book. This is all what the One Thing book is about. Later on, it says, the ruling factor of living a counterbalanced life is to allow imbalance when key goals are at stake. When you don't have listings, when your deals aren't getting put together, when your income is off, when that's when it's okay to be unbalanced. When a child is sick, when mom is coming out of the hospital, it's okay, because those are key factors, right? So, but do not dwell in that state for too long. Why? Because when you allow yourself to live in imbalance for too long, you cannot maintain your energy and you risk burnout.
Right. That's a whole different conversation, I feel.
Yeah,
And,
that's a whole different,
exactly. And sometimes you have to give yourself permission to what I call be in triage mode. So
Yeah.
something is happening in your life, you're only going to take care of those few things that are super, super urgent. Everything else you can let go of.
and we have to give ourselves permission to do that, because we all get feeling guilty if we're not always working on our business.
Correct.
Yeah. On 261, it says, when you see a successful person who appears balanced, please realize it's an illusion. What you're seeing that appears to be balanced is really fast and timely counterbalancing. Counterbalancing done this way is just as healthy and fulfilling as the so-called balanced life. So we are only human. We are human beings, not human doings.
Right. Exactly. So next week,
Oh,
260,
that's a good one.
71.
I like
I'm
that.
sorry, Early, what did you say? It was 2 what?
Next week, 263 to 271.
Yep, 263 to 271. And also on 262 is a nice recap of a lot of what we were talking about.
Yes.
It gives
Sorry,
you
what are the
16
pages?
points.
Next week is 263 to 271.
27, oh, I have 285, okay.
Do we, Mary Beth, 285? You tell us.
I'll lose you if I go and look. It's going to be on the Keller Inc.
Okay,
All
I
right.
think it might be 285
Okay.
because that goes right into covering the organizational model on 273.
Okay. My mistake. So 285, guys.
Yeah, let's do that. 263 to 285.
okay.
All right.
Bye,
I'm
everybody.
in 10 to
Guys,
fly.
good day.
Hey, and
Bye.
tomorrow will you guys be going up to the Ridgefield Park grand opening? Anybody?
I can't make it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't either.
I
I
don't
have
Okay, well-
important company coming in Friday night from Virginia, so
Oh yes, you do. Your niece.
my
You
niece
enjoy
is
her.
coming, so I'm getting everything ready to make her feel very welcome.
I was
All
gonna
right.
be there and I looked at my calendar and it wasn't fitting in, sorry.
No problem. I
But
love it.
Orly,
Look
we're
at the
gonna,
calendar.
and Paula, we're coming to yours, so
Excellent.
Okay.
Bye.
Amen.
have a
All
good
right,
day.
ladies, have a great week.
Guys, have a good
You
day.
too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thanks so